Hey class, in this video we're going to go over just an overview of the course. We'll take a look at Brightspace and the Open Lab and look at the syllabus and the schedule and the topics for the class. So I'll try to be succinct, but there is a lot of information to cover. This isn't maybe going to be the most exciting video of the semester because we're not going to learn any new concepts or work with any new software, but we are going to cover a lot of important information about what to expect from the structure of the class this semester. So make sure to watch the whole thing and let me know if you have any questions about anything. There's going to be a lot of video this week just because it is the first week of school. So there's a lot of basic stuff that we have to go over. But in the future, you'll see there's going to be more assignment and creative time and less of me talking. But this week is a lot of me talking. So let's get started. I'm here on Brightspace. And I'm going to go into our class, which you can see right here. So this is our MMP 100 class. You can see the announcement that I sent out. And there's a couple links here. There's a link to our Open Lab site, which is where we're going to spend most of our time in this video, looking at the syllabus and the schedule. There's also a link to the YouTube playlist for this class in this semester. So as I make these videos, I will be posting them here. If you ever want to go straight to a video, you can use that link to find them here. Other than that, on Brightspace, most of what we're going to be doing is turning in assignments and grading. So you can see, if I go into Learner View, you can see there's assignments and there's grades. That's pretty much it. All the content is going to be on the Open Lab, so you won't spend quite as much time here. But I'll go over how to submit assignments in another video for this week, so I'm not going to cover that right now, but we'll look at that a little bit more in depth soon. So that's pretty much all that we need to look at here. Let's go ahead and go over to the Open Lab. So this is the Open Lab page. This is the home page. If you haven't used the Open Lab before, it's a website that is hosted at BMCC. And there's actually a lot of different things on here. There are communities, there are projects, there are people have their portfolios on here. I'll talk a little bit more about those things later on in the semester, but for now, the main thing to look at on this site is just the basic materials for the course, and then this is where you're going to be posting your work in the class, and we're all going to be posting here together so we can see each other's work and give feedback on each other's work. So some basic information up top, you can see right here's my email address. If you feel free to email me any questions, big or small throughout the semester. I'm very responsive on email. And of course, if you want to meet up at any point in office hours, we can do that on Zoom, and we'll see my office hours in a moment in the syllabus. Eventually you're going to want to join this site. I'll go over that in the Open Lab video for this week, but you can click on this link and what you'll see is the Open Lab page for the class site. So these are related but slightly different things, and there'll be a join button there for you once you create an account, and so you can do that when you're ready. There's a link to the syllabus and the schedule down here. Once you join the Open Lab, you'll see your name appear down here. I can see that Mac Jones has already joined before I've even shot this video, so that's cool. And there's me. Eventually, when you start to post on here, when you click on your name, you will find your posts here. There's also a posts link up at the top here. We haven't posted anything yet, but eventually you'll see everything that we all post throughout the semester. There is also a topics section. Each one of these links goes to a page for each of the topics that we're going to cover throughout the semester. Our first topic is going to be image or digital imaging. And so these pages will have some links to resources that you need, a description of the project that we're going to be working on, and some rules for the assignment submission. These links, this is interesting, these links appear to work. So I think the Open Lab is doing something where it thinks these links don't exist, but I'll fix that later. Anyway, each one of our topics has a page. We'll kind of use that as like a starting point as we cover each of these different topics. There's also a link section with our syllabus, the schedule, and the same YouTube playlist link. So you'll always be able to find that. And also add links to the videos I record in the topic pages as I record them. So let's take a look at the syllabus. So this is the updated syllabus template. There's a lot of information here that, excuse me, is not specific to our class, but I'll kind of go through the stuff that is specific to our class. Excuse me. And the schedule is on a separate page. I just separated them, but it's, it's part of the syllabus. But it's just easier to have links to both of them since there's a lot of information in both. So let's go through here. So, we've got some basic info. You can see there's my email address again. Here's my office hours. So typically do Tuesday and Friday, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Zoom. If those times are not good for you, just send me an email and we can find another time to meet. I'm also on campus a lot. I'm always on campus Monday and Tuesday, and I'm often on campus other days as well. So if you're on campus and you would like to meet for office hours, just let me know. We could meet in my office or in the makerspace or, wherever. So yeah, some more stuff. Quick description of the course. Main thing is that to focus on is right here, multimedia production. So if you've never taken a multimedia class before, this may be a little bit different from what you're used to in a class in the sense that we do not have papers. We don't have exams, we don't have quizzes, we don't have tests. We only have, the only deliverable or the only thing that you're going to be graded on throughout the semester are creative projects made using different multimedia software. So we're going to make images, we're going to make websites, we're going to make audio recordings, we're going to make animations and videos. And all of our assignments are either going to be documentation about the projects that we're working on or these creative projects themselves. So that may be a little bit different from what you're used to. It may be something that you've been doing a lot. A lot of you guys probably have plenty of experience using things like Photoshop or other software. Some of you guys might not have any experience with that. This is really geared towards a basic intro where we really cover step by step everything you need to do to be able to use these programs and to create any different type of media. So the main goal from this class is that going forward, whether you're a multimedia major or not, anytime you are thinking, ooh, I want to make an image, I want to make my website look cool, I want to make my slide presentation for my job look better, you'll know, how do I make an image, how do I record some audio, how do I put it on a website, how do I make like a cool animation? You'll have the really just like the basic understanding of how to make all of these different types of media that we interact with every day. So I think it's an exciting class. This is how I spend most of my time, working with software and making digital media. And I think it really is applicable whether you're a multimedia major or an animation major, a video major, or you might be, business or English or language major, anything that would ever need multimedia. Hopefully this class is going to benefit you. Anyway, let's continue. So we've got some student learning outcomes here. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but if you have questions about these, feel free to ask. We have some general education learning outcomes, same deal. A couple more details that you may be curious about. I'm going to make myself smaller so we can see all the info here. So required text, there are no required texts. This is a OER or Open Educational Resource course. That tends to be the case with digital media. People do write books about digital media, but since the field is always changing, even though those books might have really great concepts, they're probably using old software. So we use up-to-date resources. I re-record these videos every semester just to make sure I'm using the most recent version of every software and the industry standard of what's available year to year and semester to semester. So we put everything online, make it easily accessible, and it's all public as well. So even if you're not in this course, you could access these materials as well. Some other things that you might want, so not required, but you might want these if you are using a loaner computer from the school or you're going to the school and using computers in the computer labs, you might want a physical flash drive or USB storage drive to save the stuff that you're working on. You want to make sure to have your files backed up so that you don't lose your work either during the semester or after the semester. If you have a cloud-based storage system like Google Drive or Dropbox, that's a really great way to save your materials as well. If you're not really sure, it's going to be a little bit of a case-by-case basis because I'm assuming a lot of you guys already have things set up for your courses like Google Drive or OneDrive, things like that. So if you're not sure what you want to use or what the best setup is, send me an email and we can discuss either in office hours or over email. Use of technology, we're going to be using a bunch of software. So we're going to be using Adobe products, including Photoshop and Adobe Animate. We're also going to be using some other software that is free, like Audacity is a free audio editing program, and Sublime Text is the text editor that I prefer, also a free program. Everything that we're going to use in the class, you'll be able to use for free, either because they are free, like Audacity, or because we have a license through BMCC, like the Adobe Creative Cloud products. So we'll go over that in another video, but you will be able to download Photoshop onto your computer and use it on your computer. You can also use it in the labs at school, but if you want to use it at home, you will be able to access it through BMCC and CUNY as long as you are enrolled in a multimedia course. So you won't need to purchase anything to take the class. We're going to be using Brightspace to grade and submit assignments. We'll talk about that a little bit more in another video. And we're on the Open Lab right now. Obviously, we're going to be using the Open Lab. Here's some information for the BMCC service desk. If you're having any tech issues, logging into your email, creating an Open Lab account, accessing Adobe, anything like that, this is where you will want to get started. Of course, you can email me and we can go over it together as well. But you may need to reach out to the BMCC service desk and get help from them. So this is the info to do that. We have, through BMCC, you have access to LinkedIn Learning, which is a platform for video tutorials. You don't need to use it, but here's a link if you want to sign up and take a look at what they're offering. It could be a good place to kind of reinforce some of the stuff that you'll be learning in the class. So here's a breakdown of our grading. I'll talk a little bit more about grades in another video when we go over submitting on Brightspace. But the grading is basically just a breakdown of these things. We're going to have 4 different projects which are worth 15% of your final grade, or 60% total. There's a final project which is worth 30%. I might actually adjust this a little bit. This is how it's been recently, but I might move some of that to the blog posts, but I might, if I re-engineer this, I'll let you guys know. There's also a teacher evaluation in class performance. In an asynchronous class, this is a little bit of a different thing than you might be used to, but mainly what I'll be looking for in terms of class participation is giving feedback to your classmates on the Open Lab. So the Open Lab is a blog. You'll have the opportunity to post comments on each other's work. And part of the expectation of the class is that you will give feedback to other students in the class, either giving them positive reinforcement saying, oh, that looks really cool, nice work, or giving some constructive criticism saying, this is a good start, but I feel like you could add this, or maybe this would be an interesting thing to consider. So that's what the participation and performance grade will be based on. If you have any questions about that, you can let me know. But I'll talk a little bit more about that when I post my first review video during the week, next week. Okay, after this, we've got some BMCC policies. These are policies that are for everybody. So the rest of the syllabus here is just stuff that is in every single BMCC syllabus. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but one place I'm going to talk a little bit is right here, plagiarism and academic integrity statement. So, in a multimedia class, the way we think about plagiarism may be a little bit different than how you might think about it in other courses. Because in multimedia, we often do a lot of combination of different sources. We use different types of media. We use things that are created by other people, and we put them together in collage in lots of different ways. And so part of a lot of what we're going to talk about in this class is how to do that in a way where we give proper credit to other people. The main thing here is presentation of someone else's ideas as one's own creation. So when we're making works in multimedia, we need to be very careful and clear about when we're using things that are created by other people. And in more recent years, that also applies to generative AI. So if you use ChatGPT, if you use image generation tools, if you use any other type of AI or other sources that generate materials that you want to use in your projects, that's not against the rules, but you have to give source credit. So you have to say this was generated by ChatGPT, or this image was created by Adobe. I forget the name of their AI, but it's like Firefly or something like that. The main thing is to give credit when you're using other sources, whether they're people or generative AI. There are going to be some cases where certain things are not allowed. You're not allowed to go onto YouTube and download, a famous song and put that in your project. There are rules about what types of media can be used in different contexts. And if you're ever unclear on whether you can use something in a project, just ask me, just send me an email, or we can talk in office hours, and we can talk about what your goals are for the project and whether it's appropriate to use, different materials that you might want to use. Hopefully we won't have an issue with this, but if you do use an AI or use somebody else's work or use a licensed work that you don't have a license for, in the assignment, I'll probably just say, I'm going to give this a 0. You need to redo this unless I'm missing something, and then we can discuss why, you might be using stuff correctly. Let me know if you have any questions about that, but I hope that should be pretty straightforward as far as that goes. Gender inclusivity, if you have a nickname or pronouns that you prefer that I use, let me know. I will be happy to do that. Some free BMCC student support services. There's a bunch of stuff here. Some of the stuff I'm not quite as familiar with, but there's a lot of stuff here that you may find useful. There's the Advocacy and Resource Center, Counseling Center, Learning Resource Center. This is an area where I am quite familiar because I've spent a lot of time there. This is a tutoring center. We have a really good lab in the tutoring center. It's the 5th floor in the Chambers main building. There's lots of computers there that have our software on them. So that's a good place to do your homework or, participate in the class if you need a place to do that. The LRC also has tutors. You can meet with them in person or online. We have a couple tutors who have taken this course that are very, very knowledgeable and will be very helpful. They're students, or they're no longer students, but they were students at BMCC, so they've been in your position. And so if you need help or just want to kind of get feedback on a project that you're working on, the tutors are a really great resource. Office of Accessibility. If there are any accommodations that you need, you can talk to them and they can talk to me. You can talk directly to me as well, but if you feel more comfortable talking to the Office of Accessibility, that's a great resource. I've worked with them a lot and they're really wonderful people. So, if there are learning accommodations or other things that you need to discuss, don't hesitate to reach out to them. Office of Compliance and Diversity, those are all the kind of resources. So there's a lot of stuff there. Any questions about that, just let me know. Let's take a look at the schedule. So this has a schedule for all of our class meetings, and we're not meeting, so it's just the days that I'm going to be posting stuff online. And then along with this, let's go back over to Brightspace and let's take a look at the assignments. So you'll see that all of the assignments have a due date. A lot of the assignments are pretty simple assignments. They're just a blog post. So you can see these, there are 9 blog post assignments, and then there are 4 project assignments and 1 final project assignment. That might look like a lot of stuff. Don't be intimidated by that. The goal here is to do a little blog post update each week, just so we can kind of get in the habit of doing something every week. Even though it's an asynchronous class, it's really helpful to kind of keep engaged each week throughout the semester so you don't fall behind or, build up work that you need to do in a short period of time. So the blog post assignments are very straightforward. The grading is pretty much, did you do it or not? There's a little bit of like, you have to do it correctly, but if you follow the steps, it'll be easy to do those well. The projects have a little bit more to them in terms of what I'm looking for with the grading, but that'll be clear, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to those projects. So those are the two, basic types of assignments that you'll have due. Again, I'll go over more about how to submit those in another video. But you can see all the due dates there, and they correspond with the weeks here. So if you have a blog post 1 that we have starting on Monday, that's going to be due the following Sunday. So blog post 1 is this one, and it's due February the 2nd. And then we just kind of keep going from there. So this first week, we're going to be starting with image. You can see there's a lot of stuff here. There's 6 bullet points, but most weeks have 2 or 3 bullet points at most. This week we have a lot more just because we have to do this video, go over everything in the class, and then we're going to have a lecture and then 2 demos, one on using Adobe Photoshop, some of the basics there, and then I have another demo of just how to submit the assignment. So that'll be a little bit shorter. We're going to have a blog post, and that's going to be this week. So a lot more me talking, a lot more video this week than there normally will be. In following weeks, I'll try to make my videos succinct, and we'll hopefully have more time for you guys to work on your creative projects. So we're going to continue working on images with Adobe Photoshop in week 2 and 3, and then we'll do our first project, which is creating an image. Week 4, we'll start with audio. We'll do some recording and editing in audio, and we'll continue through 5 and week 6. Week 7, we start animation. We'll do some basic animated GIFs, some more sophisticated animation, and a storyboard. And then in week 10, we'll start our web section. We'll make a simple website using HTML and CSS, and we'll publish that on GitHub. And then that'll be week 10, 11, and 12. Week 13, we will do a final project proposal in the form of a creative brief for what your final project will look like. You'll have another week to work on the final project, and then the final day of the semester is May 19th, and that's when your final project will be due. So that's the whole schedule. That's pretty much everything to cover in this video. As I mentioned, this week we're going to have a lot of content in terms of video, just because there's a lot to cover. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions about any of that information, and I will see you guys in the next video when we will get started with our image topic.